Right, Chelsea won, Arsenal won. I was absolutely desperate for a result today, and I honestly thought that this young and improved side could pull one off. But at the same time, now that the pre-match buzz has died off, I honestly can't walk away from this one feeling disappointed. We've moved up to third in the Premier League table. It is on goal difference. It is tight near the top, and a couple of good results or a couple of bad results can change everything. But when I read you out our fixture list later on, there's plenty of room to be optimistic. And let's be honest, right? This one does not feel like it did when we came away from the Man United game. Because when we came away from that match with the draw, I really felt like that was an opportunity missed. I understood that they had the new manager bounce. And when you look at how Ruud van Nistelrooy ultimately did during his short and brief tenure at Man United, you can't really complain. He went unbeaten and they started to score some goals, and ultimately we went to Old Trafford where it's been an unhappy hunting ground for us, and we still came away with a point. But I feel that we could have come away with more than a point today. I feel like maybe we had the better opportunities to do so on the run of play, but I don't know. It does still mean that we are yet to record a win against one of the traditional Big Six sides from this season, but I believe the improvements from last season are honestly so clear and obvious to see that if anyone wants to do anything but praise those improvements, I think you're just clickbaiting here, to be honest, because I think even when you look at the games against Manchester City and against Liverpool, right, they were losses. And, okay, Pochettino oversaw draws in those games, and the 4-4 draw against Manchester City was an absolute thriller. But I'm pretty sure we went on to lose the next match out against Brentford. I was there at Stamford Bridge, 0-0. I'm sure that was the game after that match. And that wasn't surprising because last season there was no real continuity. There was no assurance that a good display would be followed by another good display, and I feel like we have that security installed in us now under Enzo Maresca. And as I say, I feel like we played quite well in the games against Manchester City and against Liverpool, and now I feel like the reason why we will be disappointed coming away from games like the one at Old Trafford and the one today against Arsenal, who we also haven't beaten in quite a long time, is because we now understand more about this squad. We've grown and we have more belief in this squad. And the haters will say, well, you spent $1 billion. And to that I say, fuck off and stop watching the channel then. I'm not bothered about you lot. I am bothered about you lot, the hardcore. So listen, we're going to get into it. But before we do, people, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do me a massive favour by hitting that subscribe button. Hit one more button, which is the like button right now, and then hit the bell. I don't know why I'm tapping up there, but I've got a feeling the bell is up there. If it's not up there, it might be up there, but hit it either way. Let's get into it. Right, so you can see the team sheet on screen now, and to be honest, there was no real surprises for me in this one, apart from possibly the inclusion of Malo Gusto over Reece James. But are we doing that? Are we calling it the inclusion of Malo Gusto over Reece James when Reece James has predominantly been playing at left back? I think that it was Cucurella that was included over Reece James. And when you look at the performance that Cucurella put in today, you really cannot argue with it. I think that Caicedo and Lavia picked itself as that midfield pivot. However, we will speak about the performance of Enzo Fernandez once he came on, because ultimately the point that we got, we owe it massively to Pedro Neto, and we owe it predominantly to Pedro Neto, but Enzo Fernandez played his part in that goal, and I was very happy to see him do so. I think it will do wonders for his confidence. Cole Palmer again starting in the 10, Noni Madueke one side, Pedro Neto the other side. He did what he likes to do and what Enzo Maresca likes him to do, which is switch over when he ultimately brings that sub on, and Nicholas Jackson through the middle. Now let's get into the game itself, because 2 minutes in, we were nearly off to the perfect start, right? Palmer receives the ball from Lavia, I think it was. He's about 30 yards out from goal. and he absolutely pings a swerver at David Raya, right? And it's one of these shots where, like, I don't think if you're an Arsenal fan and it goes in, you're even annoyed at the keeper, even though it's straight at him. And I go on about, like, Anana in the past. He's levelled up a little bit, but conceding goals that are just straight at him and it looks like he jumps out the way. But this one was swerving, man. It reminded me of one of David Luiz's old shots from back in the day. So much power on it. The Spaniard does manage to tip it over the bar. And after a good start, Arsenal do start to put the pressure on. I feel like it was all Chelsea for the first 10 minutes. I was really liking what I was seeing. We were coming out, we were playing with intent, but Arsenal start to get a lot more competitive, especially so in the middle. That doesn't mean they were overrunning us. That doesn't mean I feel that they were winning that battle in the middle. And it's interesting because I've literally got the camera rolling as soon as the match is finished. I haven't looked at any of the stats, anything like that, any of the heat maps, and we'll ultimately do that tomorrow when I'm in the studio with Josh and we'll break the game down. This is more just my initial emotional reaction, but I don't feel like they were winning that battle in the middle, but they became a lot more competitive, and in doing so, they came into the game a lot more without really creating anything too clear-cut. And now, 22 minutes in, when we speak about clear-cut, right, the man who started over on that right-hand side, who played over on that right-hand side for pretty much most of last season in our captain Reece James's absence, comes closest to opening the scoring. When Pedro Neto, on the other side, he goes one way, takes it the other way, goes one way, takes it the other way. He bamboozles Benjamin White, because that is his name. He dinks the ball to the back stick. I've said so many times, am I going to sit here and say it again? Yes, I am. Pedro Neto's delivery is absolutely phenomenal, and we'll move on to him later on. But the Portuguese man puts the ball almost on a plate, right? Any other player, you would really be looking at them and thinking, you need to score that, man. And Malo Gusto does need to be scoring that, but at the same time, he's a right back. He's known for getting up the wing, beating his man, whipping them balls in. This season, he's shown the ability to invert also, and that's been something that is not a role that I don't think comes naturally to him, but a role that he's impressed me in doing. But heading is not something that I've ever seen him really do, you know. And in doing so, he puts the ball over the bar. Such a shame, because we would have opened the score in there. I think David Raya was very much beaten in that moment, right? And then he's down injured, actually, Malo Gusto. So he's injured, and just a matter of seconds after coming back onto the pitch, Chelsea get himself in trouble. Levi Colwill, who actually played out really well from the back today, but this is the problem with playing out from the back, and I think that Chelsea fans, including myself to an extent, will zone in on this. There's teams that play out from the back, right? Because they play out from the back, and because they're positioned high in the league, I don't know, like third place, something like that, there's not too much scrutiny on them when one or two mistakes go against them. Because believe me, you know, Ederson makes mistakes, right? Maybe not as many as Sanchez, but he does. Alisson makes the odd mistake. Gabriel, Saliba, they make mistakes, right? And Levi Colwill in that moment made a bit of a mistake. He's trying to play out from the back with dispossessed. Martinelli ends up getting a shot off, which is saved by Robert Sanchez. And in doing so, we manage to break straight away on Arsenal. We get it up the other end, but nothing really transpires. There's a Noni Madueke effort. I think a lot of people will be speaking about Noni Madueke because he does create a lot of chances, but the final product often isn't there. We saw him cut in on the left foot a few times today, and he pinged a few into the stands, into row Z almost. And also, you see the impact when Pedro Neto goes over to that side. When I'm thinking at the moment, sorry to go off topic, it is a little bit of a ramble here, but when I'm thinking about some of Pedro Neto's best moments in a Chelsea shirt so far, of course, there's that assist against Wolves on what I think was his debut, but some of his best moments in a Chelsea shirt so far, I'm thinking of the ball that was dinked over the top from Axel Disasi against Barrow when he fucking roofs it. A lot of them have come off that right-hand side, you know, so maybe that's something that we start looking at. On the hour mark, right, Arsenal open the scoring, and it does feel like a case of history repeating itself from me. It's something that I remember from my childhood happening. Kai Havertz, right? He stood in acres of space when Arsenal were given a free kick. Chelsea still organising themselves. Now, to me, watching it live, I didn't think that the referee had blown the whistle. I feel like Rice is watching the referee. He puts the whistle to his lips, right? But it's like Rose from Titanic. When she starts blowing that whistle and it doesn't blow straight away, it's a little bit like that, like one of them ones. Anyway, Rice takes it. Apparently the referee's blown his whistle and he's giving it, right? It's gone through to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, clever to do that and to get in that position, and then strong also to not be barged off the ball. If he was, there'd probably be a penalty given, to be honest. Converts past David Sanchez. It was one that came under a lot of protest from the Chelsea players, and the protest was that the whistle hadn't been blown, it was taken too quickly, they were still organising themselves, no one was really aware. Michael Oliver was saying, well, no, okay, I was aware, and ultimately the goal was given. But then, good old VAR steps in. Let me just have a look if I've got this right in terms of the minute. Yeah, it was, yeah. VAR steps in, my old friend, VAR, love them, never say a bad word about them, and they ruled a goal out because it was offside. So, big sigh of relief. Now, remember I said there it reminded me of history repeating itself. Here's what I want you to do. Get in the comments now, what moment between Arsenal and Chelsea did a similar situation to that play out? What was it? What was the moment I've got in my head? I'll reveal it to you lot at the end of the video. But get in the comments now and tell me, and then we'll see how many of you got it right. We had a couple of free kick attempts from Cole Palmer, both of them hitting the wall, to be honest, nothing too special. And that was it pretty much for the first half. What I would say for that first half, nothing too lucrative in terms of opportunities, apart from the ruled out Havertz goal, the Malo Gusto header, the Cole Palmer shot. But, I've just named sort of 3 moments there. A few might slip my mind, but it was more of a battle today, I felt. It really was more of a battle. It was a really interesting match. It wasn't like the Man United match, It wasn't filled with clear-cut opportunities, and it wasn't end-to-end, but I thought it was a match. In the Man United match, you were looking at it and you were going pretty scrappy and not the highest of levels, where I thought you saw some really good moments, and my half-time thoughts were fairly positive ones, to be fair, because despite the banter that I'd given pre-match about Arsenal and about the fact that we could end their title run, and let's be honest, they're sat in 4th going into the international break, something calamitous would have to happen for them to really be back in the title run. But then again, I'd be saying that if it was Man City sat at the top of the table. And because it's Liverpool and because Arne Slot hasn't been here before, there's always that element, and I think that's why Arsenal will come away disappointed but somewhat happy today with the point away at Stamford Bridge. But there was a few things that did impress me because, as I say, I give them a bit of banter about it, and it could have been 3 away losses on the bounce from 2 wins in 7 games, and those wins coming against lesser level opposition. But at the same time, it was Arsenal, and Arsenal are a good side, and they had their best players back out there today. And I said that, is Declan Rice of a broken toe still going to be as good? Well, he looked pretty good. Is Odegaard, when he's hardly played a minute of football for however many months, still going to be as good? Well, he looked pretty good. Do you know what I mean? So I felt that actually we were doing well. We were still in the game. I felt that Pedro Neto looked a threat up against Ben White. He was having success, but he was also doing a good job of getting up and down and keeping on Odegaard, so Odegaard could cut off the supply a little bit from Odegaard to Bukayo Saka, who obviously for me was the main threat today. All the Arsenal fans were going on about Odegaard. For me, I'm worried about Bukayo Saka, right? And I feel like Cucurella did an absolutely phenomenal job up against Bukayo Saka today. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and that battle was one that even at half-time I thought was was one that was going in Cucurella's favour. Caicedo also was looking really good, collecting and intercepting the ball many times, starting quick counter-attacks. And despite one or two shaky moments, I actually was really impressed by the defence. I kind of predicted that we wouldn't invert, and actually, to me...
But before we get into all that, I want to let you know that Manscaped are back with their latest release, the Chairman Pro package. And this is an all-in-one set that includes everything you need to recreate the luxury of a professional shave while you're at home. So hit the link in the description and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and use the code JOEYKNIGHT to get 20% off and free shipping. Now, I know that I've had times in the past when I've been shaving, I've cut my face, I've stuck a little bit of toilet roll on there, and it's never a good thing, especially when it's used toilet roll like the bit I had to use. But worrying about stuff like that is a thing of the past for me now, because the Chairman Pro package has everything that I could possibly need. The Chairman Pro has 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. You've got the skin-safe 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave, and you've also got the skin-safe stubble trimmer for when you want to keep a bit of that rugged look about you. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation. The standout feature that sets the Chairman Pro apart from the rest is the Flex Adjust technology. This technology ensures a superior shave by allowing both blades and the pivoting head to seamlessly adapt to the unique contours of your face. And there's something great that is going to make your grooming even easier. It is waterproof, meaning that you can use it in the shower. It's also got up to 75 minutes of runtime, meaning you don't need to worry about losing juice while you're having a shave. But that's not all. The package also includes the Power Shave Gel. It's non-irritating, it's lubricating, and it is specifically made to work with the Chairman Pro. And to finish off, we have got the Face Shave Soother. It's designed to help reduce redness and defend against ingrown hairs and razor bumps. So click the link in the description to get the Chairman Pro package today, and remember to use my code JOEYKNIGHT, all capitals, to get 20% off and free shipping on your order. Thank you very much to Manscaped for partnering up once again with the channel. Let's get back into the video.
And again, I haven't looked at the heat maps, I haven't looked at the statistics. This is something me and Josh will go into detail. We looked a little bit more like the old Chelsea in terms of the fullbacks bombing up a little bit more rather than inverting today. Maybe it's against the teams where we're having more possession where that will be. Now, second half, the first big chance of the half comes to us, and it's Wesley Fofana after Madueke whips in a beauty of the ball to the back stick. Fofana gets a foot on it, right? It's almost like an acrobatic effort. He beats David Raya, but he also beats the crossbar, and it lands on the top of the netting. Pretty much on the hour mark, Arsenal opened the scoring through Gabriel Martinelli. It's Odegaard with the assist. I was saying pre-match I wasn't even really bothered or worried about Odegaard. Well, there you go. Came back to bite me in the arse. We looked to play the offside trap against them on the edge of the box, and I don't know why we did, but again, it was Levi Colwell that was playing Martinelli on. He gets it to the back stick. Some will question whether Robert Sanchez needs to be doing better for that. I think that I was happy on the whole with Robert Sanchez's display today, and we'll speak about why I was, because there was key moments that did go in his favour after that. But for a goalkeeper to be beaten at their near post, not great. But when the attacker will often shoot at the far post, I suppose you can kind of expect that it's going to go over there. I don't know, but either way, around that hour mark, Martinelli converts past Robert Sanchez. We go 1-0 down. Now, 10 minutes later, Chelsea react, right? We're warming a couple of subs on. We're bringing on Enzo. We're bringing on Mykhailo Mudryk. We're bringing on 2 players that, realistically, let's be honest, I always hold my hands up when I've been wrong or when I've given criticism where it shouldn't have been, you know? And those were 2 players that I don't really feel have contributed to the amount that I anticipated them contributing to when we signed them. And Enzo Fernandez more or less instantly proves me wrong, because we'll speak about his game quickly as a whole. I thought he was really good when he came on. I thought he was better than Romeo Lavia when he came on. Saying that, I think defensively, what Romeo Lavia did in that first half, although he was dispossessed 1 or 2 times, He also won the ball a few times in key areas, and maybe Arsenal would have had more opportunities to score in that first half, and maybe we wouldn't have just been 1-0 down. I don't know. Maybe if my auntie had a set of bollocks, she'd be my uncle. But what I'm saying is, I don't feel that this proves Enzo Fernandez should have started instead of Romeo Lavia, but I do think that his contributions to the game undoubtedly was better than Romeo Lavia's, because he came on, he won a few balls, he won possession a few times, threaded a few key passes through, nice passes, and the best one being the one that went through. He doesn't even pass it to the feet of Pedro Neto. He sees the space. He sees Pedro Neto running into that space. Where's Pedro Neto running from? The right-hand side, because Mudrik's come on. He's come on the left-hand side. Pedro Neto gets it and puts an absolute screamer drilled along the floor. Remember that one, the little FIFA shot on the PlayStation when you used to do the low shot and it used to go hard and fast across the floor? Oh, it was like the game breaker on FIFA Street. Left-footed finish, straight past Raya, skims it past him. This boy's magic. Pedro Neto's the bollocks, man. He really is. It is a beauty of a goal, and I've said so many times about the fact that he can deliver from both feet and he can whip a ball in on a sixpence from both feet. Well, he can shoot with both feet. Pedro Neto, for me, is becoming our most important winger. I say becoming, he is, isn't he? He's our most important winger, When we signed Pedro Neto and we signed João Felix within a matter of days of each other, and not to discredit João Felix or throw shade on him at all here, but look at the impact that positionally it might hinder that. But look at the impact that Pedro Neto is making. 74 minutes. Nicholas Jackson, he goes through on goal, he converts, he doesn't fluff it. Although he is about a kilometre offside at the time. I think even he knew he was offside. Now, I spoke about Robert Sanchez and why I was happy with his performance today. 87 minutes in, Robert Sanchez shows exactly why Enzo Maresca has been putting his faith in him ahead of putting his faith in Jorgensen week in, week out, because he stops Arsenal taking the lead. The ball's cut back. I originally thought it was an Arsenal attacker that got on the end of it, but it actually comes off Moises Caicedo, and the reflex save by Robert Sanchez is one that very much keeps Chelsea in the game. Had it not been for that reflex save, Chelsea don't win the game. We didn't win the game. I don't know why. I feel like we've won it there. He won us the point, is what I'm basically trying to say. So, very, very happy there. That's about all. To be honest. I'm about to reveal the moment for you. The moment it reminded me of, if you said the Thierry Henry free kick past Peter Cech that did get allowed, you were correct. Now, let's speak about the main things, right? Reece James dropped. I think it was the right move. And that doesn't mean that I think it's the right move going forward. It means that I think it was the right move to do in this game, in this situation. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have Reece James at right back for the next game, but I think that Reece has come back in and he is he's definitely playing a different role, because he's been playing at fucking left back. But even when he's at right back, he's been playing a different role, a different system. And that system probably requires less from him than the old system used to, in terms of Reece bombing up the wing. But at the same time, I still don't think he's up to scratch. And I don't mean that in a detrimental way, because Reece James is the bollocks, and even a 40-50% Reece James is better than most right backs in the world, and that's what I think we're seeing at the moment. But there was a moment late on when Reece has just gone past so easy by Trossard, and I think the Reece of old, maybe that moment doesn't happen to him. So I think there's still room for improvement there, and I think that you take less of a risk in this game. And I was really happy with Malo Gusto's contribution as well. Despite the fact he missed that, some would call it a sitter, I was happy with his contribution. I speak often and loudly about our ability to counter-attack, and I think the counter-attacking actually let us down a little bit today, because we had so many opportunities to do so and the ball went backwards so many times when we did so. Listen, that's to use a boxing analogy, it's like me going in against someone really, really good, and then someone going to me, you didn't let your hands go enough, and it's like, well, it's hard to let your hands go when you're in there with someone really, really good. It's hard to counter-attack, but sometimes it's small margins in these matches, and you got to be dangerous, and you got to make the move that is a little bit dangerous. And Arsenal did it at times today, and we maybe didn't seem to. Kept them quiet from set pieces, I would say. Not to say they didn't have opportunities, but that's somewhere where they do like to load up the box, get a load of big boys in there, and that is a trait under Pochettino last season that we weren't very good at all. And when you look at the height in the team, it hasn't really improved all that much since last season, so definitely the set pieces are working better for us, and we kept them quiet. Quite a game for Cole Palmer again today. I don't think he had a bad game. I just think when we come up against these top teams, they are very much going to be well organised. They're going to prioritise sticking 2 men at a time on him, and that means that he might struggle to constantly be impacting the game, but he did impact the game, and he did have good moments in today's game. And I'm not judging everything I've seen off of these couple of games so far, because ultimately we say the traditional big six. Okay, he hasn't got a goal or assist in any of those games, but also, you know, Brighton are right up there. Look at how he performed in that game. Newcastle are right up there. Look at how he performed in that game. So I think the whole traditional big six thing's becoming a load of bollocks, really. So I don't know. Man of the match, right? They gave it to Cucurella, but I think it's very, very hard to not give it to Pedro Neto, if I'm being completely honest. I think Pedro Neto created that chance, didn't he, at the back stick for Malo Gusto. Obviously, the goal, phenomenal. I think Pedro Neto is brilliant, so I'd have Pedro Neto as my man of the match. But at the same time, I would not be averse to having Cucurella as man of the match, because I did say that was the most important thing for me, was to keep them quiet, and most importantly, keep Bukayo Saka quiet, and he very much did that. Now, here's the good news for you. There's no easy games in the Premier League. I'm going to warn you here, there's no easy games. But we had a real tough run of fixtures, right? And that tough run of fixtures kicked off with the match against Liverpool. Okay, it was Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United and Arsenal. And we got a loss from that, a win from that, and a couple of draws from that. And ultimately, does that need improving on if we are to finish in the top four? Well, I'll tell you what, without being a mathematician, it actually doesn't, you know. It doesn't, as long as you beat the smaller teams. But being that this is the most competitive league probably in world football, you're not guaranteed to beat the smaller teams. So yes, we do need to be acquiring points against some of the big boys. And yes, I'm sure that we will. But without assuming that any game is easy, when we come back from this international break, Leicester, Aston Villa, Southampton, Spurs away, guaranteed 3 points. Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. That takes us all the way. It's January now. By January is when we go away to the Etihad to play Man City. So we have got such a winnable run of games now. And when you think about the games that we've got out of the way and the way we've performed in those matches against some of the clubs that maybe aren't in that sort of top 8, even the way we've performed with some of the clubs that are in there, I just think good things are on the horizon. And I think if you had have offered me going into the last international break of 2024 to be sat third in the table and have this feeling about our players, our harmony within the club, the main thing, like last couple of seasons, you know, I just think of the injury crisis, the Lukaku interview, the fucking everything. So if you offered me to be in this position, I'd have bit your hand off for it, to be honest, as a realistic Chelsea fan. And I'm really, really happy that we are in this position right now. Would have loved a win today, but I'd love a lot of things in life. You don't get all of them, and you've got to be happy for the ones you do get. So we're third in the league. We're in a great position. We've got a very winnable run of fixtures coming up. Let's be positive. Let me know your main takeaways from today's game and get your questions in for me and the big dog, because we are in the studio tomorrow about midday. We're going to bang out 1, maybe 2 videos for you guys. So let me know what you want us to know. I'm going to put it up on my story now and get questions in for me and Josh for tomorrow's session. I will see you all in the next one.